In this video, I want to show you something about big stitch quilting, which I had just heard about the other day. This is the whale outline that I had done on muslin in silk thread using the Model 20. Now, this piece is a kind of a test piece to see if I want to do a quilt size piece the same way, and make a whale quilt. Now, originally, what I was going to do, and you see a box of crayons there, I happen to make my own crayons, and the blue that I use the most of my own crayons is based on a Prussian blue. That's a particular pigment blue. And Prussian, I haven't colored this in yet. Obviously, I'm a fine artist, so I've been thinking that I would color the whale in, but what I want to show you is the silk thread in just warm soapy water ran just a tiny little bit. It's not enough to take away from the quilt. It blurs the edges a little bit of the whale. I don't think it would be that noticeable overall. So again, using silk thread that's not color fast, this quilt would have to be washed in cold water. Now, that is actually good if I decide to put crayons on here, because Prussian, all crayons on fabric tend to fade or lose a little bit of their pigment in the wash. And if Prussian starts coming off the quilt and going everywhere, you could have a mess, because Prussian blue stains everything. I could use another blue. I could use like a Crayola blue. But these are the crayons I developed specifically for whales. So this test piece will probably also get colored in and then washed, and we'll see how it goes. But what I wanted to talk to you today about is the big stitch quilting, which I've started over here, and frames. I had it on, I think this is a 6-inch Q-snap frame, and I had it on there, so I was just able to grab the edges in the frame, because the piece is just about 6 1/4 top to bottom, and it made it difficult to get even stitches. I mean, they're fairly even, but see, there's a crooked one. So this is a larger frame. It's an adjustable frame that's actually a second head that goes on my standing quilt frame. One of the head pieces is a 29-inch circle quilt hoop, and this is a cross-stitch frame technically that goes under here is the headpiece that attaches to the frame, the stand. Anyway, what I'm suggesting is that you use some kind of an adjustable frame like this when you're doing big stitch quilting on a separate piece. The video link that I shared the other day, the woman was doing a full-size quilt, or a large quilt, and she could move a Q-snap frame around. But this is maybe 6 1/4 by 15 inches. And in order to keep it taut and consistent, I'm going to put it on this frame. I'm going to, and these adjustable frames generally have 4 edges that adjust, and they have muslin, or this is webbing, and you pin your piece right to the webbing, and then you can adjust this out to make the piece as tight as you want. They're wonderful. So this is how this works. Now, the video I shared the other day, that woman was using a tapestry needle, a stab method, and 12 strands of floss, which is sold, it's called Sulky Petites. And I looked at it. It looks like a beautiful floss-type fiber, except where I thought it would overpower this piece by using 12 strands. So this is 6-strand DMC floss, and it's actually a variegated, although I don't know that will show up all that much. And that's what it's going to look like. And I'm going to go all around the whale. So that gives you an idea of the effect that big stitch quilting will add to a piece. And I wanted to do this first before I decide whether or not I'm going to color in the whale. So the coloring of the whale brings in washing and fade and pigment flying all over the place issues. But the quilting, as far as I know, DMC is color fast. But any way you look at it, I'm now at the point where a 16-inch block with a whale in the center would have to go on this quilt frame. My other Q-snap frame is an 11-inch frame, or I have the long Q-snap frame, but then I'd have one side kind of hanging. So this adjustable frame is the best way to do one square at a time for me. That's going to be 16 inches. So I don't want people to have the impression that big stitch quilting is really fast or necessarily portable or different from hand quilting other than the size of the stitch and the floss. So I still have to put this on a big frame, square by square, and take my time and do it right. So it's not a substitute for quilting. It's just another weight. If you're a knitter or a crocheter and you deal with different yarn weights, it's a different yarn weight of quilting. It's really what it is. So we'll see whether this whale stays as Moby Dick or whether it goes to a sperm whale, and how it looks after I get it big stitch quilted.